obligation to, and have acted upon a perceived obligation to help my other friend deal with the problem, which more or less makes me an accessory to an intervention. Do you think that there is any way to avoid being dragged into the main conflict by choosing this route, or will I inevitably be sucked into the gravity well? By extension, do you think that there is any merit in my friend attempting to intervene at all? That's from Cornelius.
Hey Cornelius, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Steph. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's she been doing? This self-destructive plan?
Well, that's a good question. I wrote you guys a short book about this when I first sent my email, so I think I'll just kind of condense it here. Basically, she is, I guess for the better part of 7 years, she has just made one terrible decision after another, and it's culminated in her getting married to a Tunisian man who is a few years older than her, pressured by his parents, is violent, sexually frustrated, all of the above. And, she's thinking, oh, maybe I'll move in with him and his parents when they move to Qatar. So there's even more stuff, but that's the basic gestalt, if you will.
Does she have a job?
She used to. I mean, that also plays in. It's her mother that's been paying for all this stuff. So,
is she pretty?
She had something once. She does take care of her image, but her image is not good at all.
Why do you think she's on a self-destructive path?
Well, it all started back in high school with her parents' divorce. She just started going into the whole drinking, drugs, partying thing, like whole hog, because her parents weren't there to basically say stop, or to really comfort her or say, this isn't the right path to go down. And so she went down that path. She went down the shaving her hair, dyeing her hair like 8 different colors in 1 year to the point where it didn't grow back. And ever since, she's been sleeping around. She claims now, 3 years later, after having, I think the phrase I used was shot through her barrel full of fish, she's back and saying, oh, I've had my experience. It's time for me to settle down. And it all points to, at least the way I see it, it's a cry for help, but in a complete and utter lack of realization that the cry for help and that the answer that she's getting is basically hurt me.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by a cry for help? What does that mean? I mean, I know what the phrase means, that you think that she's acting in a self-destructive way in the hopes that someone will save her, but how do you know she's not acting in this way in the hopes of dragging other people down into the same pit of dysfunction?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Okay. So, how do you know she's like flailing around hoping that someone's going to pull her out of the quicksand of her life? Or differentiated from someone who's going down in quicksand, they don't want to get out. They want to pull other people down with them.
Okay.
Some people will say, come to my drug party. And then you're saying, well, maybe it's a cry for help that they're trying to get you to stop them from taking all these drugs. Or maybe they want to get you sucked into the same druggy lifestyle. And that's why they're saying, come to the drug party.
Yeah, I see your point there. And to be honest, I think I'm leaning more towards the fact that she does want to drag other people down because she's had such a hard time.
Wait, because she's had such a hard time?
Oh, and she's given herself
Mr.
such
White
a hard
Knight.
time.
I didn't think it would take you long to show.
Hey, whoa.
She's a victim.
I mean, if you go back to how her parents brought her up or did not manage to bring her up at all, there is an element of victimhood there. I can't deny that. I don't think anyone could deny that. But I still recognize the fact that every decision that she has made since the age of 16 or 17 even before then, has been 100% her responsibility. And she should know better. She should know that what she's doing.
Well, she's told better, right? Sorry to interrupt, but there are people around her who say, I assume, yourself and others, this is a bad idea. You should you should not do this, right? And here's why.
Right.
So she's full access to people who would help her make better decisions, who are committed, as you were at some point, and your friend is now still, who are committed to having her or helping her make better decisions, right?
Exactly.
So she doesn't want better decisions.
Right.
Now, do you know much about her upbringing? Do you know what may have gone? You can just give me a very sketchy details, roughly.
I can give you the sketchy details. Basically, everything that you have ever mentioned in one of your Gene Wars presentation that could have gone wrong, except perhaps sexual abuse, went wrong. So, man, where do I start? Her own parents were both victims of parental abuse. They had no respect for each other, and basically, by extension, they had no respect for her. And then, she gets that from them, and she has no respect for them, and just has a terrible time making friends, being able to talk to people, being able to reason things out with people. And all that came to a head when her parents divorced, and she was sort of liberated from their gaze. That's when she went whole hog partying, because she had like a 7-month period where she lived with my other concerned friend. So it's basically a mess. It's a mess.
And how? I mean, she's older than you, right?
No,
I'm going to assume
she's younger.
She's what?
She's younger than I am.
She's younger than you are.
Not by much, but she's younger.
Okay. And why do you care about her? I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just curious why you're tying some of your life to this self-destructive person.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know that I do really care what happens to her personally anymore, which is why I asked the question.
But no, you care in proxy, right? I mean, because you're
proxy,
having another friend deal with the problem, so you care to some degree.
Yes, to some degree. It's a very small degree, and I
well, listen, if it's really small, I'm going to move on to the next caller, because I try not to deal with tiny problems in this show.
Okay. I mean,
I'm not trying to threaten you. I'm just sort of pointing out that if it's like, Steph, I was mildly upset because I bought some milk at the grocery store, and it seemed a little out of. It was sold close to its best buy date, and they didn't tell me. It's like, sorry, we deal with slightly bigger fish on this sea hunt.
Yeah, well, that gets to the real problem here, which is that my other friend, who is much, much more involved and does care a lot more about the situation, she's reached a point in dealing with it where she has to ask herself the same question: should I help ever again? Should I bother? Should I care? And there's a stepping stone that needs to be stepped over, which is the fact that we think that she might hurt herself if she is told anything.
What do you mean if she's told anything?
If she's
criticized, she might kill herself or throw.
She might hurt herself, or worse. Yeah.
Right. So that's terrorizing people, right?
Yeah.
Right. So there's no free speech involved in that relationship. You can't speak your mind because you're afraid she's going to chew her arm off or stick her finger in a pencil sharpener and crank or something like that, right? Okay, so there's no free speech in that relationship, right?
Exactly.
All right. So you can't help her because she's, over you is hanging this sword of Damocles of self-harm.
Right.
Right. And let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Is she a good person? Does she help people? Is she a positive influence on those around her? Is the world made a better and brighter place by her courageous moral presence?
No. It is not.
Okay.
Because she is not moral. Nothing she does is moral.
Have you known her to be mean or cruel or difficult to people or a net negative in people's lives?
Not so much when I was closer to her, but as time has moved on, yes. One really important example was this other friend of mine whose house she was living at for these 7 months. This other friend's mother got cancer, and she had no one really to tell. It was a shock, as I'm sure you're aware. And she told this girl who's the problem, and the girl couldn't even say, like, I'm there for you, before moving on to I got this text from my dad, and OMG, I hate my dad so much.
So, okay. So the woman she was staying with, the woman's mother got cancer, and she's trying to talk about this with the woman she's putting up, this friend in question, or ex-friend in question.
Exactly.
And the ex-friend could barely listen to her before bringing it back to her own problems, right?
Exactly.
Right. Hey, Cornelius, would you like to hear a provocative thesis?
I would. Thank you.
I'm not going to speak about this woman in particular. I've heard, obviously, a little bit about her. I could, but I won't. I'm just going to, let's say, there's a woman called Sally. And Sally is a pretty horrible person. She manipulates people, she uses people, she's greedy, she's selfish, she cheats people, she lies to people, she's an addict, she causes people no end of heartache and heartbreak. Now, she cannot respect herself or love herself for this kind of behavior, for being a chameleon, a predator, a manipulator on others. And I do believe that we have a conscience. Now, I know that there are people, sociopaths or whoever, like they say, oh, I have no conscience, I have no conscience. But nonetheless, I do believe that those people still have pretty unsatisfying lives as a whole. But there are people who have a conscience and who still act badly. The causes of that, let's not worry about at the moment, just what happens and how it plays out. They act in ways that are hateful to good people, and they end up hating themselves because there's a good part of them that has struggled with their bad impulses, their immoral impulses, their evil impulses perhaps, and has failed. And the evil impulses the person has chosen, the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other. The angel keeps speaking loudly and the devil sometimes only whispers, but nonetheless, you turn to what the devil points at and take your greedy shit on the street there. And so maybe, just maybe, people who are self-destructive because they're destructive. They're destructive to others. They're hated by others or feared by others. They're bullies, they're mean, they're vicious, they're nasty, they're ugly, they're difficult, obstructionist, they just take. And they have no loyalty. And maybe they end up self-destructive because they're hateful people. There's a possibility for some subsection of people who are self-destructive. Because we look at self-destructive people and we think, they have low self-esteem, or they don't think they're worthy of good things in life. And yeah, I'm sure there's some truth in that for some people. But sometimes, I think it's possible that they are on a self-destructive path because the wages of sin is death. It's all they've earned. It's all maybe they feel they deserve, and maybe it is in fact all they do deserve. It's just a possibility. What do you think?
Some harsh words, man. Harsh words. No, yeah, that's it. Even though I'm not involved that much with it, it does pain me that is the conclusion that I reached. Sucks.
Yeah, maybe this is what she's earned by her actions. And if you can't, if you're willing to admit you've done wrong and apologize and make amends and so on, then I think you can change this. But if you're just still committed to making the world a worse place by your presence, well, there's a reason, Cornelius, that we don't do bad things. Or we try not to, or we make amends if we do, because we don't want to end up trying to wipe our own evil off the planet. So my question, though, is, why is any of this in your life?
Well, we went to the same school together. I'm still very close with the other friend. We go to college together, and That
explains nothing. You understand?
Oh, yeah. No, well, because I do care a little bit.
Why? Why do you care? What has she done to earn your caring? I mean, I hope you have some good people in your life who've earned your caring, who've earned your loyalty, who've earned your respect, man, right? I hope that you've had good people in your life. I hope you have good people in your life who earn your respect. What has this woman done to earn your regard, to earn your concern, to earn your attention? How does she deserve the precious time that you have in this world being devoted to her? What has she done to make that happen in you?
Well, it's a bit far removed from today, but we used to be very good friends. She was the only person that I could talk to at the school in a more what would you say the word is, less filtered, I guess, more personal.
So she was a good listener before your friend's mother got cancer.
Yeah, with me at least, she was.
Okay. So she was a good listener.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
and
too,
how long has it been since she was a good listener?
Like I said, very far removed.
How long?
Probably 3 or 4 years now. If it gives you any perspective, the last time I saw her, she was under the influence for the entire encounter.
Let's say that a really good person comes along into your orbit, Cornelius. A good person, like a morally strong and proud and courageous individual comes along and finds out about this quagmire you have going on in your life. What do you think that moral, good, strong person is going to think?
Watch out. Yeah, it's not good.
A man's known by the company he keeps, right?
Yeah.
You are the sum total of the 5 people in your life you spent the most time with, in some ways. Mm-hmm. Because it seems to me, Cornelius, that you may have what some people call a scarcity mentality. I must try and find some way to rescue this friend because 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, she showed me some kindness a couple of times. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
The boat has sunk. Only this half-rotten rain barrel is the only thing keeping me afloat. I can't look for anything else because it's all I have. It's not, my concern is not, whether you have the chance to change this person's course or your friends. Forget it. I doubt a skilled therapist would have much luck with someone like that, right?
Yeah, she doesn't want to go to therapy. She thinks she's above it.
Sure, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So she doesn't even think there's a problem, right?
Nope.
Right. So
neither does her mother.
She's going to go off and get beaten up and cut her, right? So it's you take what you want and you pay for it. Choices and consequences. But my question is, who's not in your life because this shit's in your life? What kind of peace and love are you not getting because this drama is floating around in your life? Who's being driven away because of your scarcity mentality. Wow, it's really hard to make new friends, so I better hang on to this dysfunctional, decaying death orbit of self-destructive behavior and its consequences and its ripple effects. Because, it's really hard to make new friends, so I got to hang on to this old shit. No. It's hard to make friends because you're hanging on to this old shit. Because that is a clear signal of your self-esteem and what you think you're worth and what you think you deserve in life. This can't be the best you can summon in the world regarding relationships and friendships and positivity. I mean, you sound really down to me, and I know it's maybe just this topic, but even as a whole, why can't you get, it's just like so easy, why can't you get better friends? But you won't get better friends until you let this shit go. You won't.
Yeah.
What? You want to disagree with me? Just disagree with me. I'm just telling you my thoughts. I'm not saying I'm right.
I do not disagree with you at all. I don't have any problems making friends personally. I don't think
man, you don't
my
know.
other friend does either. Uh-oh.
You don't know.
Do you know something that
I do know something that you don't? Which is this is on your mind, right? I'm not saying you're obsessing about it, but it's on your mind, right? Enough to the point where of all the things you could have talked about with me, you chose to talk about this. It's on your mind. It's weighing you down. Mm-hmm. You don't think that has an effect on the kind of friend you can attract? Or the kind of lover you could attract? You don't think that has any effect on your enthusiasm and positivity and energy in the world? You don't think you're not spraying out clear signals? That you're swimming along in the Caribbean Sea and everyone is laughing and playing beach volleyball and throwing a water frisbee and having a great time, and you're being dragged down by a kraken. You're being dragged down by a giant squid. You don't think that's going to have any effect on how you come across?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I am going to offer a little bit extra information. I don't know. Maybe Mike knows this. Maybe he read the full email. Maybe not. But I haven't interacted with her personally more than 3 times in the past 3 years. So she's not affecting the company that I keep right now. If in a negative way, I'd say more that the fact that I can tell this story and see these things wrong with what she's done and actually talk about that with other people, that's actually gotten me more friendships in a sense. It's opened more doors. So I don't know. What do you think of that?
You've no emotion about this topic, Cornelius. You've no emotion about this topic. I mean, you got to listen. I hope everyone who talks to me listens back to it. It's really, really important. Because there's the one thing in the moment, in the conversation, in the public aspect of it. You need to listen back to it. You have no emotion about this. You might as well be reciting the plot of the most boring movie you've ever seen. Right? And what that means is that, I think what it means is that you are avoiding mourning. Your friend is gone. Your friend is highly unlikely, virtually impossible, in my obviously amateur opinion, virtually impossible for her to prevent this spiral. She's gone. Now, if you had connected with that, then you would be sad about it. But you sound empty about it, which means she's still dominating your emotional apparatus with false hope. Almost nothing empties us out emotionally more than false hope. All delusions empty us out emotionally, but false hope is one of the worst. If you accepted that if she praises the behaviors that she is undertaking, if she's cool and edgy and funky and fun and spontaneous. Oh, I hate that word, spontaneous. I'm spontaneous. No, you're manic. You're crazy. You're random. I'm spontaneous. If she's praising the behaviors that she's pursuing, she's not going to stop them. They're only going to escalate. Whatever we praise, we escalate. So, from the outside, Cornelius, I can't detect that you give even half a rat's ass about this friend of yours. This is what's confusing. You're calling in to talk about this. You tell me, well, it's not a big problem. I barely talked to her in years, and it's not really an issue, and it doesn't have any effect on my ability to get friendships and so on. And it's like, okay, so if it's not a big problem, why the hell are we talking about it, right? And if it is a big problem, why are you emotionally vacant about it?
I hadn't actually thought of that.
It's not a thought. I don't think you have problems with thoughts. I think the feelings are more of a challenge for you.
Well, yeah.
I mean, when you think of her, if you think of your friend or your ex-friend going down this path, accelerating, hitting the gas, if you don't care about her that much, it's going to be, well, that's a shame, but people make choices, and you know, like a third cousin who got lung cancer after everyone told them to stop smoking. It's a shame. Just another example of what not to do in life. Okay, then you could say, I don't care about her that much, but then why are we spending all this time talking about her? If you do care about her, then why don't you have any of that caring in your voice? Why is it a monotone, like you're bored? And your friend who's still trying to help this woman, right? Is this the same friend whose mom had cancer?
Yeah, it's the same one.
So your friend is trying to help the woman who gave no shits about her mom having cancer. Are you kidding me?
She's in a different boat than I am. She's very, very distraught about it and has been.
Distraught about what? About the friend who didn't care about her mom having cancer?
Yeah, she goes between being, like you said, mourning the friendship and being extremely angry with her.
But why? Why is she tied emotionally into someone who didn't care about her mom having cancer while they were putting her up?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that everything you need to know about this cold-hearted individual? Yeah, your mom has cancer, but listen, I just got this text from my dad. It's really pissing me. Come on. Where's her self-esteem? Where's her self-protection? What the hell?
It used to be pretty low, I'll tell you that.
Used to be?
It's gotten better, but it was...
Oh, this is the better part?
Yeah.
It's not funny, man. It's not funny.
No, it's not. It's...
So she's as deluded about the situation, I would argue, as anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are threats of self-harm, choking and cloaking the relationship, it's not a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's a relationship like being stuffed into the trunk of a car and driven someplace sinister as a relationship. It's not a relationship.
Yeah. Oof. Well,
if she's not going to learn from reason, if she's not going to learn from good advice, if she's not going to learn from the clear empirical evidence of her life, right, the self-destructive friend, do you know the only way she's going to learn? Consequences. Do you know who's currently shielding her from those consequences? Your friend.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I'll still be your friend. I'll still call you. I'll still see how you're doing. No. You give people good advice. You listen to them. You sympathize. If they don't listen, it means they're not going to learn through reason. They're not going to learn through evidence. They're not going to learn through empiricism. They're not going to learn through good, well-intentioned, well-meaning, honest, decent advice. Which means there's only one other way that they're going to learn, which is rock bottom. Also applies to societies as a whole, right? So anyone who's enabling or pretending that the rock bottom isn't the necessary place to go. Again, this is all just my opinion, just some idiot on the internet. But my opinion is the very best thing that could happen to this woman is rock bottom. Because she doesn't even think there's a problem. In fact, if you say that there's a problem, she probably thinks you're being a jerk. And she's going to go hurt herself, right? So if you are standing between this woman and rock bottom, you're not helping her. Right?
It's the function of a stone to fall.
And you know what happens if you're in the way of a falling stone? You get a concussion.
Yeah, you get crushed.
You get crushed. You get cracked.
Well,
if somebody's on a self-destructive path and they don't listen to advice, and you have to withdraw and you have to go through the mourning. That's very sad. Don't get me wrong. It's very sad. There's a line in my book, The God of Atheists. The nihilistic young man is finally honest with himself when he's writing a song. And one of the lines in the song is, I am what remains when history wins. I am all that is left when history wins. His own personal history won. Is that choice? Is that determinism? At this point, it doesn't matter. But you need to take a long, hard look at what in yourself is causing you to circle the drain with someone like this. What it's costing you. What it's costing you in terms of empathy, what it's costing you in terms of anxiety, what it's costing you in terms of opportunity costs for better relationships. I'm telling you, if we were chatting at a party and you were telling me this story about some woman who's whoring around and drugs and, going to get beaten up in Qatar by some Tunisian guy, I'd be like, well, good luck with all of that, man. I'm going to go chat with someone who's not involved in that unbelievable and ridiculous drama. Like, why do you need this drama? What does this drama serve? Does it make you important? Does it make your life exciting? What's missing in your life that you're filling it up with this chaos and danger and self-destruction? What's missing in you that you need to fill up with all of this explosion fireworks of dismal spectatorship? You think it's your friend who's self-destructive. It's both your friends who are self-destructive. And you who have a self-destructive impulse by being anywhere near this shit.
Huh. You're right.
I do believe I am.
You're absolutely right.
All right. Well, I'll stop while I'm ahead. I appreciate the call in. I think you know where I stand, but thanks a lot for calling in. I'm going to move on to the next call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.